Shalom. Bear with me. All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. Hey, hit the button, right? It's a spirit. All right. So I was thinking about this topic, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. All right. And I actually I went into this topic before a while back, but it just came to mind, the curses that have been placed upon our people cannot be overlooked, man. All right. And you got all types of doctrines out there, and Esau claiming to be the Israelites, and a lot of madness, man. But hey, this word is stirring up trouble, man. These people can't sleep. All right. Hey, the prophets are in your face daily, constantly, man. Week in and week out. All right. Videos going in, videos going out, man. All right. So people are seeing the content, man. People are watching the videos, the sincere being edified, man. And there's nothing you can do against the truth before the truth, man. And that's a wonderful thing. Right. So again, just thinking about the topic, the curses upon our people cannot be overlooked. All right. And the curses are what? The primary indicator that prove that we are the Israelites, man. Okay. So I want to get into that, and let the spirit, spirit like the wind. I know brothers that throw precepts in there or whatever, right? But I wanna give this word overlooked. All right. Let me get that real quick. Because the curses, all right, they cannot be overlooked, right? So this is the definition of overlooked. It says overlooked means to fail to notice, consider, or value something either by accident or by intentionally choosing to ignore it. All right. And that's really what these people that scoff and mock, this is really what they're doing. All right. They're intentionally ignoring the fact that, look, there's no other people on this planet Earth that fit the curses that are written about the Lord's people. All right. And we are the Lord's people. All right. The true biblical Hebrew Israelites, man. Okay. Let's look at some more. Right. It says overlooked again. It says not seen, noticed, or considered. Right. So you got to consider these curses, man. Again, the identifying marker to prove that we are the people of the Lord, man. So anyway, let's get into it. Grab a couple scriptures, man. Right. So let's go to Daniel, right? And Lord willing, y'all can hear me nice and clear. I got my AC bumping. Sounds like it's loud, but Lord willing, everything is cool. All right. It's supposed to rain. It's supposed to be outside today, but rain coming down. So hey, we're just gonna knock it out in the car. It's be like the midweek. All right. Midweek camp in the whip. But anyway, Daniel the 9th chapter. And let's start at Daniel 9. And this is starting at Daniel chapter 9, verse 7, and it reads. It says, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, righteousness belongeth unto thee, Salakia. Right? Daniel 9 and 7, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day. All right, the confusion of faces, meaning that we lost our heritage. All right, and we were scattered amongst the nations, right? Let me add on to that. This is Ezra. This is the book of Ezra 9 and 7. All right. I started Ezra 9 and 7. And it reads, it says, since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day. We have been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hands of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of face, as it is this day, right? So this day, all right, we're still under these curses, man. Scattered, all right. We lost our heritage, and that's why we're in a time of what? The awakening, all right, of us coming back to our true nationality of who we truly are, according to the Bible, man. All right, as the Lord's people, the sons of God, right? Daniel 9:7 again, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as it is as at this day. To the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, right? Through all the countries, whether thou hast driven them, because of their trespass, they have trespassed against thee, right? So we were scattered. We were driven amongst all the nations of the world, right? It says, verse 8, O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. All right, the curses from the Most High. Verse 9, to the Lord our power belong mercies and forgiveness through it says, though we have rebelled against him, neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our power, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. All right, so the prophets have always been around, okay, giving Jake the insight from the Most High, giving Jake the warning. All right, just like now, the Lord said, "Give them warning from me." And what are we telling our people? To repent, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand. All right, the grace and mercy is getting ready to close, man. A severe judgment is getting ready to go out on the majority of our people, the majority of the nation, man. A lot of our people are going to perish. Right? This is why it's dire right now that you repent, seek the Lord, continue to get this understanding, because hey, the Lord is getting ready to close all this up, man. There's a timestamp on the word of the Most High. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. All right, his presence is not always going to be here. All right, and his presence starts through his men. All right, the censorship, the famine of the word, okay, the blocking of channels, videos. Hey, as we know, these things are getting ready to go to a next level, man. All right, so with all thy wisdom, get understanding. I'm roughly paraphrasing the scripture, but you know what I'm talking about. Somebody can post that, man. Right? With all that wisdom, get understanding. I'm roughly paraphrasing it, right? But that's the spirit you got to be in, man. Constantly, how's it go? Constantly at the doorstep of the teachers. All right, I'm roughly paraphrasing it too. Your brothers know what I said. Okay. Anyway, back in Daniel 9:10, neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our power, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Verse 11, Daniel 9:11, right? Salakia, hold on one second. Bear with me, hold on. We'll get back to it 1 second. Hold on, Salakia. All right, there we go. Hey, the water, my brother. All right. Adam Nana 3:911, Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exactly, man. This is it right here, man. You got to get all you can. All right. This thing's getting ready to go down, man. All right. Get all you can. All right. Hey, you remember we got to be fully equipped, man. We getting ready to. I mean, we're in the midst of spiritual warfare right now, but shit, right? We're gonna have to exercise everything that we've been taught in a time where there's no more internet, man. All right, when there's no more being around brothers, you know, when we got to walk our walk alone with the Lord, man. That straight gate. All right. So everything that we learn is going to have to be exercised in that day. That's why the Lord is preparing us, man. This is why the Spirit has been so fervent and adamant on getting understanding, man, getting built up. All right, preparing your mind, body, and spirit for the things that are getting ready to come upon this earth, man. Right. So, like they said, how's it go? You don't you don't appreciate something until it's gone, right? And when the Lord removes His presence, right, then then you're gonna be like, damn, these men out here really, dedicated their lives and gave us the understanding through the Holy Spirit to prepare us for these terrible times that we're about to enter into, man. Right? But anyway, back in Daniel 9:11, yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. Right? Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. Right? And you can read Deuteronomy 28, verses 15, all the way to the end of the chapter. It gets all into it. Lord willing, we'll go there. Right? It says, therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of power, because we have sinned against him. Verse 12. And he confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges, and that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil under the whole heaven, have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem, man. All right, show us the images, like Elder Manatazaba said in his recent lesson on the damn plant. What's his name? Rich Tidwell, talking about Europeans or the Edomites, man. I mean, Europeans or the Israelites, man. Madness. We know that guy set up, right? Hey, one thing you people out there, you got to notice. Anytime like Elder Apostle Rakah says, these Johnny come latelys, man. Anytime you see a new guy pop up out of nowhere, all right, and he got hella subscribers, views, right? Nigga been on YouTube for like 2 days, got 1 million followers. You know that guy set up, man. All right, you got all types of agents and plants, all right, because look, hey, these devils are scrambling. They gotta send out their minions, man. All right, to sow confusion. All right, to get you thrown off your faith. That's what it's about. That's why Yahweh Shai said, "What? Be not deceived. Many shall come in my name, saying I'm the anointed, but don't follow them." Meaning, many are going to come with the scriptures, man. They're going to come with the Bible, deceiving many. That's going out hardcore right now, man. So you got to be locked in the spirit, man. Right? Let me read that again. Daniel 9:11, or Daniel 9:12. And he have confirmed his words which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. All right. So again, show us the images of so-called white people being rounded up on ships with yokes of iron upon their neck. All right, getting the shit beat out of them, tortured, genocide. Okay, having their family separated. Right. Hey, show us that. Okay, disease, plagues. Okay, show us that. All these things that happen, all right, to the Lord's people, all right, it hasn't been done to nobody else, man. We fit these curses directly, man. Okay, this didn't happen to any other nation on earth but the Israelites, man. Okay, you can go argue with a wall, right? Verse 13, as it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil has come upon us. All this evil. All right. So when you consider the plight of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanic, all right, those groups of people have been through pure hell and back, man, and still going through it. Okay. And it's not like these nations don't know. right? Side note, how the hell is a heathen gonna have salvation, right? When Psalms 83 hasn't been it hasn't been justified, man. Right? Psalms 83, Psalms the beginning of Psalm chapter 2, that hasn't been justice hasn't been brought down for that, man. So how the hell the heathen gonna make it, man, when they all came together, all right, under one consent to destroy the Israelites, man? All right? The scriptures say that. If somebody could post that, man. How they came together with one consent that the name of Israel would be no more remembered in the earth, man. But somehow the heathen nations can be saved, right? What are you niggas talking about out there, man? Right? But anyway, not the rant. Daniel 9:13, as it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil has come upon us, yet may we not our prayer before the Lord our power, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Right? All this evil came upon us. Verse 14. Therefore, have the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. So again, what we went through as a nation, this was brought upon us by the Lord. This is all divine punishment from the Most High. We sinned against him, man. We were punished. We were brought down. We were brought low. We were put under the cursive, man. We were in at one point we were not a people. Okay? We lost our heritage. We became Gentiles, dry bones. Okay? It says, therefore, Daniel 9:14. Matter of fact, let me get something real quick, right? Because we're talking about the curses, right? I want to get that one real quick. Quick, heavy hitters, right? Let's get that one in Lamentations, right? Since we're talking about the curses here, man. Lamentations 2, and I'll go back to Daniel 9, right? Lamentations 2 and 15. Yeah, this adds to what I was just saying about Psalm 83, right? Lamentations 2 and 15. All that passed by, oh, Salakia. Oh, yeah, the water, my brother. Lionheart, 1275. Psalms 83 and 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. Exactly. They got to pay for that, man. You got niggas out here talking about the heathen gonna be saved. Hell out of here, man. Right? These are the same nations of people, again, that conspired, that came together in one consent to genocide the Israelites, man. What are you people talking about? Right? Lamentations 2 and 15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hissed and wagged their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Verse 16. All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it. All right. So when you read Obadiah, was it 115? All right, hey, we're gonna get vengeance on the heathen, man. All right, we know Esau is in the forefront, you know, of this of our destruction, right? But the heathen were involved as well. All right, they gonna get this work too. They not off the hook, right? It said, all thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we have looked for. We have found, we have seen it. Even in Revelation, was it Revelation 11? Right? Where it talks about they didn't suffer our bodies to be put in graves, you know, how we were the gifts, you know, how they, you know, during slavery, you know, they were selling us amongst each other, you know, further scattering us, you know. It's a lot of history, man. You look up, man, you got the transatlantic slave trade, You got the the trans-Saharan slave trade dealing with Ishmael, the so-called Arabs, and what they was doing to Jake, right? You got the Dutch slave trade, you got the Native American slave trade, all right? As I did a lesson a few months back, all right? Understand that the slavery of the 12 tribes of Israel was world business amongst the nations, man. It was world business. All nations were involved. You're talking about hundreds of millions of our people scattered, put to death on these voyages from one part of the earth to the other. Okay, but that all ties back to what I'm saying, the curses, man. All right, which we fit. Anyway, Lamentations 2:17. The Lord Yahweh Shemir Rashah have done that which he had devised. He have fulfilled his word that he have commanded in the days of old. He have thrown down and have not pitied, and he have caused thy enemy to rejoice over thee. He have set up the horn of thy adversary. So again, this is all the doing of the Lord, man. He allowed these things to happen for our punishment, man. We went off. Okay? So all those things, like the lesson I did last night, we had the Jake bringing it out about how the Vatican was involved in the enslavement of the Israelites, and then he was talking about the doctrine of discovery, and then you also have what's it called, manifest destiny, man. All right, all those things were of the Lord, so it wasn't of Esau's own strength, if you will. It was prophecy, man. Okay, these things had to happen for the sake of prophecy, man. This is why we went down. It wasn't that it was just Esau just strength. It was divine, man. Okay. Anyway, where we at? Daniel 9. Let's go back. Ooh, real quick. Hold on. Let me get my apocrypha real quick. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Did I bring it? All right, here we go. So yeah, we'll go back to Daniel 9 in a second, but I want to read this in Second Ezra chapter 6. All right, so this is just adding a quick precept to Lamentations 2, verses 15 and 16 that we read here. This is Second Ezra 6, right? Let me go there. See why I had that down. All right, Second Ezra 6, and bear with me. Ooh, man. Second Ezra 6 and 50. I gotta start up. Second Ezra 6 and 54. And after these, Adam, also whom thou madest the Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen, right? Because you have a chosen line from Adam, which is called the sons of God, which are the Israelites today, right? And the people whom thou hast chosen. Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, all right, the other nations, which also come from Adam, thou hast said they are nothing. Thou hast said they are nothing, but like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. All right, so that shows you how the Lord feels about the other nations. All right, they're insignificant, right? Verse 57. And now, O Lord, Yahweh Shemir Rashai, behold, these heathen which have been ever reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. Right, a heavy photo is the that comes to mind is that photo. Elder Apostle Gabar had brought it out in one of his lessons he did like a week or so ago. It's called the equestrian statue. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I posted. I just want to put it in the screen. It's called the equestrian statue with Theodore Roosevelt. Let me see if I can spell it equestrian. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Right here. All right, let me see if I can put it in the screen. Got a little glare on it, right? Let me turn it down a little bit, maybe you can see it better. Right there. All right, the name of the statue, I know it's kind of blurred out, but the name of the statue is called the Equestrian Statue of Theodore Roosevelt, American Museum of Natural History, Manhattan, New York City, October 27, 1939. And I believe they took this down, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me see if this go through. Now it's too dark. But you can look it up. I was just trying to put it in the screen there. Right? All right, there you go. It's a little better. But you see beside him, all right, you got the Edomite on the horse, Theodore Roosevelt, and you got Judah on the right, and then you got Gad on the left. All right? How scriptures go, I've seen servants upon horses, Ecclesiastes 10:6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. All right, the rich represent us. All right, we're in a low position. That's what that's talking about. We're at the bottom, the oppressed. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon earth. You see that? So that's prophecy, man. So again, as we just read, let me go back. 2 Ezra 6:57. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. Right? So that fits what we just read in Lamentations 2 and 15:16. All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. So they're ruling over us, man. We're under the curses. All right? It says, and that's why they're fighting so hard to keep us from getting back on top. Hey, we about to rule the world, man. This is a reality that the nations know. And they're trying to offset, they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop it from happening. Okay, like we talked about at camp, it's gonna be a dark age, it's gonna be the dark ages forever. you know? So and that's why you see the transition of the world. Everything is dictated by the Israelites, man. The salt, the flavor of the earth. All these nations, especially when it comes to their women, they want Jake. All right? See, don't let America and this shit on social media fool you. All right? Hey, overseas, hey, these women want Jake, man. They love Jake. Right? Hey, if anybody knows, if you left America, right? If you've been out the country, you see how Jake is treated, man. And that's a fact. Right? Anyway, 2 Ezra 6:58. But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. Verse 59, if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with this world? How long shall this endure? Exactly. And that's the spirit we in, because we understand what happens next. All right? The destruction has to be forwarded in order for us to get back into power, man. You see? So again, that shows you that the heathen are supposed to be under us, right? But right now we're under them. You see? Again, these are the curses, right? Anyway, let's go back, right? Saw somebody posted that earlier, right? Lionheart 1275, Joel 3:3, and they have cast lots for my people, and given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. And that shit's still going on. What the hell you think that the Epstein files is about, man? They're still doing that shit to this day. Okay? Sex slaves, trafficking of children, rituals, sacrifices. All right? All that shit continues on to this day. So again, we fit that, man. Okay? That happened during slavery. That's happening now, man. All right? You can look it up. Okay? Trafficking of children is a multi-billion-dollar industry in America, man. We've done plenty of lessons on that, man. All right? I did a lesson on that was so heavy, YouTube took the video down. It's like they didn't want you to know that information, man. But you could go. It's worth a Google. It's tons of articles going into that. It's all over social media, man. Okay, this place was established off the rape, robbery, murder, pillaging of the Lord's people, man. Literally, right? Okay, let's go back. So we read the Lamentations 2. Let's go back to Daniel 9. All right, again, the curses cannot be overlooked. Okay? And people that are coming against that, you just kick it against the pricks, man. All right? Resistance is futile. Right? Daniel 9. And where we stop at? Daniel 9:14. And it reads, therefore have the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Lord our power is righteous in all his works which he doeth. For we obey not his voice. Quick precept. Baruch chapter 1. Right? Yeah, because what the Lord did was righteous, man. You know? And those that hear that, you know, that get offended by that, you lack understanding. All right? These things came upon us because we went on, real point, one quick point, since I said that Jeremiah, that's why the Lord said that in Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, right? Real quick, Jeremiah 2. Jeremiah 2:14, and I'm going to jump down to 17. Jeremiah 2:14, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Right? Verse 17, Jeremiah 2:17. Hast thou not procured this unto thyself, and that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy power when he led thee by the way? Let me read that in the NLT. Lord said, hast thou not procured this unto thyself, right? I want to read that in NLT. That's Jeremiah 2:17, right? Let me just get that real quick, and I'll make my point in Baruch. All right, Jeremiah 2:17 NLT, it says, and you have brought this upon yourselves. And you have brought this upon yourselves by rebelling against the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, your power, even though he was leading you on the way. Right? We brought this upon ourselves. See? So again, if you're offended about the fact of the Lord bringing this great evil upon us, you lack understanding. You ain't really got the spirit. Right? This is Baruch 1. Man, this Apocrypha is finished. Baruch 1 and 17, I want to say. Right? Baruch 1:17, and it reads, it says, for we have sinned before the Lord, and disobeyed him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our power, to walk in the commandments that he gave unto us openly. Since the day that the Lord have, since the day that the Lord brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt unto this present day, we have been disobedient unto the Lord our power, and we have been negligent in not hearing his voice. Wherefore the evils cleaved unto us, as we just read in Daniel the 9th chapter. Wherefore the evils cleaved unto us, and the curse, which the Lord appointed by Moses his servant at the time that he brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, to give us a land that floweth with milk and honey, like as it is to see this day. Right? So again, we're going back to Deuteronomy 28, right? Verse 21, Baruch chapter 1, verse 21. Nevertheless, we have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our power, according unto all the words of the prophets, whom he sent unto us. Okay? Verse 22, but every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart. Is that not going on now? Again, you can't say that we ain't the people, man. Is that not the same thing that's going on this present day as we just read? This present day, right? It says, but every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart, his own mind. That's why the main contenders against this truth is our own people. Niggas is atheists. Niggas is in that Kemet science bullshit, which all that worship is that I did the divine, what's it called? The divine feminine, the matriarchy demon. All that shit goes back to Canaan, the Canaanites, the Hamites, Egyptians. So you got niggas caught up all into that Egyptology, Pan-Africanism. Let's go back to Africa, the motherland bullshit. That all goes back to Ham. That doctrine, that spirit. Niggas is Muslims, Islam, what I say, atheists. Okay, those are like the main strongholds. And the Christianity demon, right? Niggas is scared to let Jesus Christ go, right? Still in church, not learning nothing. Don't know what's going on in the world, right? And all this other shit that our people are caught up in, man. So even unto this day, our people are still walking around according to every vain imagination, according to their own mind. You try to wake Jake up and give him the truth, they be ready to fight you, man. Ready to curse you out, do a drop the mic video, like niggas actually be saying something, man. But only get on these videos to mark themselves, man. Every idle word, man, shall give an account, therefore, in the day of judgments, man. So, hey, so be it. But again, that shows you who the people are, man. But every man followed the imagination of his own heart to serve strange gods. Ooh, man, see? To serve strange gods. Okay? All these gods from old are repackaged now with new names. Ishtar, Ashereth, Nimrod, Tammuz, Serapis Christos, okay? Santa Maria, Saint Mary, okay? Any other guy I can't think of, but all those strange gods, our people are caught up in them unto this very day. Baphomet, right? Niggas are big on self-worship, man. They worship themselves. Niggas feel like they control their own destiny and all of that, man. Hey, it's the same mindset, spirit, false gods today, man. Right? But every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart to serve strange gods and to do evil in the sight of the Lord our power. So this is why these things came upon us. Right? It says the same thing in Baruch, the 4th chapter, man. We provoked the Lord to anger because we sacrifice unto devils and not the Most High. So because of that, he allowed us, man, let me read that. Because, hey, when you got Jake wondering, like, why are our people, why are we going through these things? Why are we at the bottom? Why are we oppressed? Why doesn't our life matter? Why are all these nations, racist towards us and all that shit? All these questions that Jake answered. It's all because of the curses, man, and us falling away from our power. You know, Baruch 4. Baruch 4 and 6. You were sold to the nations not for your destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. See? That's why that happened. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to the Most High. See that? So because of that, we got our ass kicked. All right? Throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Unto this day. Right? Anyway, let's go back. What was we at? We finished that Daniel. Right? Not to be all over the place. Bear with me. Okay. Hey, that's right, brother. Hey, Shalom up. GMS Iron Wild 2021. Isaiah 45 and 17. It says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Rashai, with an everlasting salvation. Ye should not be ashamed nor confounded. World without end. All right. Israel is the world that's not going to end. All right. When we get back in power, it's going to be an everlasting dominion. All right. We're gonna be in rulership forever. Okay. That's the time that we're coming into. All right. That's the patience and faith of the saints, man. Right. Anyway, Daniel 9 and 15, and it reads, and now, O Lord, our power that have brought thy people forth out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and has gotten thee renown as at this day. We have sinned, we have done wickedly. Verse 16, excuse me. Verse 16, O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thy anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, thy holy mountain, because for our sins and for the iniquity of our fathers, Jerusalem and thy people are become a reproach to all that are around, that become a reproach to all that are about us, right? So that's what happened. There you go. Matazal Lacum. It says, he posted Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, this day, still in captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers which departed from the Lord our power. Yeah, hey, we catch you in hell. Hey, subject to payments, taxes, bills, all right? Fucking child support, right? Hey, Jake is drowning in bills. It's always been that way, man, right? You try to come up a little bit, thinking you saving some money, and then you get hit with a bill out of nowhere, man. And all that money you had saved up, gone, right? And that's a curse too, right? That you wouldn't, hey, hey, how you know you're Israelite? You can't save no damn money. And that's another indicator right there. Jake will be fucking broke, you know? And you got Jake, you got Jake out there that's doing, decent thing like that, but you're not rolling, you're not high rolling like Esau and Ishmael and Moab. You ain't rolling with that type of money. So basically you broke, right? And all that broke talk that you see on social media too, all that shit gonna stop, man. Once they crash the economy and how money is the standard and money is what makes a man, and if he ain't got money and all that shit, and niggas speaking broken knees, all that talk gonna be done. Then what's gonna be the standard in that day? What's gonna really be the value of a person in that time when there's no more No such thing as paper money. See? But anyway, let's get some more. All right. Again, the curses cannot be overlooked. Right. And that was heavy last night. The video I did, Jake. Are we still on? Let me know. Are we still buffering? Yeah, see? There you go. I might have to start a new one. We good now? Hey, the water. All right, beautiful. The water. Every time the spirit get hot, they want to try to cut me off, man. Anyway, but like I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, the video last night, right? Going into the Vatican being involved in slavery or whatnot, and the Christianity and all of that, right? So the Jake was talking about how the so-called Negroes were classified as a race and not a nation. And that's powerful stuff. Because as he was saying, race himself to try to forward himself into society, it was all in vain, right? Getting gunned down by the cops, all right. The injustice, all of that, man, it made sense because according to Esau's, his serpent laws, you don't even count as a people. You're not even a real person, people, man. You don't have rights. Okay, your life don't matter. That's why anytime Jake vocalizes, to the double standards and the racism and the discrimination that's going on, right? These Edomites will always try to argue and try to downplay your plight because they see you as not being a people, man. You don't really exist as you think in the society, man. So that's some heavy shit, man. But again, that's the curses, bro. All right. This is what our people had to deal with since they were brought over here. You know, so that's heavy shit, man. That's why Esau's gonna pay. You know. Anyway, let's get some more. Not to rant. Um, let's go to Isaiah. Right, like I said, this proves that this system is the pit. Let's go back to that. You know, because like I was talking about, Esau slays Jake through his wicked laws and decrees. Right, that's all part of that, man. Isaiah 42. And again, this is the curses, right? That you got it. You can't ignore it. You got to consider it, man. All right. Isaiah 42 and 22, and it reads, it says, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled." Okay, talking about the tribes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Hispanics. All right, we are the people that have been robbed and spoiled, as it is this day. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses, man. You see? So again, it's twofold, man. Because our people are ensnared in them prison houses when it comes to those different doctrines, those idols, right? And then also America being the pit, the prison house, man. Okay, they are all snared. They are hid in prison houses, man. Okay, so it's not a coincidence that the prison population makes up the majority of the Negroes and Latinos and Hispanics. That's all by design. All right. It was set up to be that way. America is the prison house. This is the land of our captivity. Okay. It says they are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. Right. That's why when niggas talk about reparations and the 40 acres and a mule and we need to go back to Africa and all that bullshit, man. That none of that was set up to work. We were brought here to suffer. All right. That's why it says in Deuteronomy 28:68 that no man shall buy you, that we would be sold as slave man and slave woman and no man shall buy you, meaning no man will redeem you. There wouldn't be no solution from man to get you out of this condition. All right? The solution is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. All right? It wouldn't be money. It wouldn't be no, signing some paperwork and taking it up to the Supreme Court and all that bullshit. That wasn't the way. The only way is Yahushai, right? Isaiah 51, real quick, and we'll go back to that. This is what our people don't get. All right? These are all divine circumstances, man. Isaiah 52:3, for thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money, right? For ye shall be redeemed without money. All right, so there ain't gonna be no reparations. It ain't gonna be no damn, let's get this legislation going so we can have an economic advancement, so we can finally catch up and have our own, society and constitution and our own banks. It ain't going down like that. Every time Jake collectively tried to unify and come together in this system, what did Esau do? Right? He killed Jake, man. Tells you that in James, how they slay our people. Let me get that. James, they kill all the people in the city. They drown the city out. They put a lake over that bitch. They blow that bitch up. They infiltrate. All right. They take down the ones that's leading the cause. It's been the same story over and over again, man. Because that wasn't the way. Right? James. I'm just thinking out loud. It's James. I know it's James, the 5th chapter. Let me find it real quick. Yeah. This is James. The point is in 6, but this is James chapter 5, verse 5. It says, you lived. Matter of fact, I started at 4. This is James 5:4. The point is in 6, though. James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers. Who are the laborers? The Israelites, the tribes. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. All right, Israel is responsible for making America so-called great. All right, our people, our ancestors built this society, man, built this kingdom, right? Who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. All right, slavery, taxes, debt. Okay, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Verse 5. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. All right, that word wanton means to live in luxury, right? Like it tells you that the parable between Lazarus and the rich man. I believe that's somewhere in Luke 18:16, somewhere in there, right? It says, and have been wanton, ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. My point, verse 6. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you, right? So yeah, Jake ain't got no standing army. Jake don't got the ability to fight back, right? So it's like I said. So anytime Jake will come together collectively to try to try to advance their cause, to try to get ahead, to try to be equal, so to speak, they will always end up getting killed, or something dramatic would happen, man. Because that wasn't the way. The Lord wasn't with that, man. The only solution is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. And that's what Jake don't get. Okay? And then all those leaders, again, all those leaders that they put in front of Jake, the Malcolm X, the Martin Luther King, the Marcus Garvey, right? And many others that they set up throughout the years, right? They're all the black boule niggas, man. These niggas work for Esau, man. These are sellouts, man. So again, that all those different methods, it wasn't it. It wasn't the way. Right? Let's go back. Right? Hey, the water Akia. Matter of fact, let me put it on my phone. I got it right here. Yep. Yeah, Matazal Lacham 144. Black's Law Dictionary 1910 states anyone calling themselves Black American is dead in the eyes of the law. This is called civilter mortius, man. Hey, it's crazy, man. Hey, when you get into some of that stuff, man, hey, you find out, man. This, hey, like they say, the game is rigged. Like literally, man. This whole system is a fucking snare, bro. It's a trap. Okay, this is the miry pit. Yep, Rosewood, Lake Lanier, Central Park, New York, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, all that, man. Right? The Philadelphia bombing. All right, what they did to the Panthers, Black Panthers, all of that, man. That wasn't of the Lord. All right, how's the scripture go? If a house is built and it's not of the Lord, it's in vain. I'm roughly paraphrasing, man. Meaning the Lord wasn't what the spirit of Yahweh Shemir Washai was not with these different political movements to advance the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanic. It's all spiritual, man. So if you ain't got the spirit, you're not gonna understand that. Everything that I'm saying, you're gonna get offended because you're carnal. You don't see the spiritual implications behind what's being said. All right. So it's like the Lord, put a block on that shit, man. Anything Jake would try, it wouldn't prosper. It told you that in Deuteronomy 28, and as I read that the other day, Deuteronomy 28, was it 33? And I'll go back to Isaiah 42 in a second. Yeah, Isaiah 28 and 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always. Right? So the curses cleave unto us unto this day. So whenever Jake tried to come up with some immaculate idea to deliver himself or whatever the case is, it's always shot down. It's either infiltrated, right? Or you got some sellout nigga that's been working with Esau the whole time, and it literally comes to naught, right? So it's like I said, it's literally like a divine block from Jake from like really trying to advance and to deliver himself, right? Because if that happens, you taking the glory away from Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, I think it was buffering a little bit. We should be good now. Bear with me. Yeah, it's sickening, man. All right, Lord willing, you can hear me out. So we'll continue on. All right, so let's go back to Isaiah 42, right? Isaiah 42, where we stop at. Exactly, man. It's always like that. Spirit get hot, they gotta go ahead and try to disrupt. Uh Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey and none delivereth, for a spoil and none saith restore. Right? Verse 23. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Verse 24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they will not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. So this is why we fail. This is why we failed to the nations, man. This is why we lost our heritage. Okay, we became Gentiles, not a people. Right? Verse 25. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger. Right? Going into the curses, going into us being conquered by the nations, being scattered. All right? In the strength of the battle, and have set him on fire round about, yet he knew not. And it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart. Right? So, hey, our people, the majority of our people refuse to listen. All right? That's why the scriptures say in Romans 11 that let me get it, that the election have obtained it, but the rest were blinded. Right? Because all the answers to life, all the answers to our plight are found in the book. Okay? And they're being made plain. They're being broken down to you, man. The understanding is out there. See? That's the spirit, brother. That's it. 44. For mercy, man. And we looking for the mercy of the Lord. Romans 11:7, and it reads, "What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded." See that? So we, the ones that the hopeful elect, we got it, man. Okay, we understand why things are the way they are. Okay, we understand why we're going through these trials, why we're at the bottom, why we're oppressed, why we're under the curses. Okay, we understand what's getting ready to come in the future, right? But the majority of our people, they don't understand the things that we understand. All right, and that's the advantage of having this wisdom, right? Verse 8, according as it is written, the Most High have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. You might have a nigga watching this video right now, and everything's being broken down and made plain, and he still don't get it. Well, I don't understand why God would do something like that. I refuse to serve a God that will punish his people like that, put us in slavery. Why would he do that? Right? Because you lack the understanding. Hey, niggas still thinking that it's a so-called white man is coming to break the clouds. You niggas still think that. Niggas still think that the Bible was written by the white man. Niggas are still thinking that. After all the videos, right? All the edification. King James was a white man. He was a homosexual. All right? He was in witchcraft. All this shit that you be hearing on the internet, man. Right? But Jake don't do no research. Don't look into nothing, man. They just repeat some shit they saw on TikTok, some bug out, proclaiming to have the spirit or some type of deep insight on something, some viral video, and now they know everything, man. That's niggas for you. Romans 11:8, according as it is written, God have given them the spirit of slumber, and eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. Verse 9, and David saith, let their table be made a snare. The table is the truth, the word, in a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Right? That's why this word, anytime we get into the depths of this word, all right, those that the Lord ain't dealing with, it's a stumbling block, man. Okay, it's a snare, it's a trap. Like I said, the reason why you can't see it, the reason why you don't agree, the reason why you don't get it is because the spirit not dealing with you, man. That's why. It's not that hard, right? Excuse me. Salakia. Romans 11:10. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back always. Right? So this is King David praying to the Lord, because Apostle Paul was quoting what was written in Psalms 69, verse 22 on down. This was a prayer of King David, that let not the wicked of our people receive the spirit, man. They receive the spirit of understanding. Keep them blinded, right? And prime example is always going to, hey, Elder Menatazaba. All these videos that brother's been doing over the past years now, every video is a nigga talking shit. It's an atheist nigga that don't believe, doing mockery with the AI. All right, these blockheaded ass Christians that don't know nothing. Right? It's all our people coming against the word. So, like King David said, that which should have been for their benefit, let it be made as a snare in the trap. Right? Don't let them get it. And we see the fruits of it today. Right? Because the Lord is allowing all this mockery and scoffing and incredulity to pop up, because hey, Jake is marked for death. Okay? When judgment really hits, millions, billions of our people are gonna get put to death, man. And there's no excuse at this point in time, because the Lord made his words known unto thee. Let me get that too. And then we'll go back to the curses. We'll go to Deuteronomy 28 and then we'll wrap this up. But what did the Lord say in Proverbs? Right? Also in John the 15th chapter, that there should be no cloak for their sins, because the word has been made privy. What was that? Proverbs, the first chapter. Proverbs 1. Yep. Proverbs 1 and 22. How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. And this is talking about our people, man. Verse 23, the point. Turn you at my reproof, the Lord's correction. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. How did the Lord do that? Through his men. That's how he made his words known unto the people, man. The Lord always had his prophets set up to give you the truth. All right? To be the forerunners, so to speak, man. The representatives. Okay? To give you the word of what the Lord said and what he requires. Just like now in these last days, man. The Lord has raised prophets up in Babylon, man. Scriptures say that thy eyes shall see thy teachers, man. Okay? So there's no excuse at this point, especially now where we at. The way this word is being spoken about all over the internet and these podcasts, and like I was talking about earlier, these agents popping up, these plants, okay, that are trying to stir confusion. It's no point. It's no excuse at this point, man. That shows you how much this word has been magnified, man. You got people trying to attack it. You got people using it for financial gain. You know, using the scriptures to manipulate minds, to get off on Jake. Okay? You got people talking about it because simply they're just curious and they never heard the things that they're hearing. So it's so many different factors that come into play on the expansion of this word, man. So it's no excuse for none of you niggas out there, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, all right? You Israelite foreigners, all right, that live abroad, that you know, your spirit agrees to what's being said, what's being written, right? So it's no excuse, right? Anyway, let's go back to the curses, not the rant, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, right? Because we read all these scriptures where it talked about, as it is written in the law of Moses, that all these evils would come upon his people because we sin against the Lord, Right? So let's go into that. Right? Deuteronomy 28. And we'll start at verse 15, right? We'll just read. I don't know if I'll read the whole chapter. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Right? Let's just read it. All right, so this is Deuteronomy 28. And verse 15. And it's heavy in my sword. It has, when it goes into the blessings, when you read Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 to 14, right? Going into the blessings, it says God's protection. But then when it goes to the curses, it goes into God's wrath, right? So that's heavy, right? And when we get restored back into the Holy Land and get put back in power, we're gonna partake in these blessings here, right? Anyway, Deuteronomy 28 and 15, and it reads, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord, of the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Right? Verse 16, Deuteronomy 28:16. "Cursed shall thou be in the city," right? Cursed shall thou be in the city, right? Where is Jake at in the city? In the ghettos, in the slums, in the projects, in the reservations, all right? Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field, right? The field represents the world, all right? So in the world, Jake is what? Hated. He's poor. He's in poverty. He's at the bottom, okay? He's labeled a criminal, you know? It says, Curse shall be thy basket and thy store, right? Jake ain't got no money, broke, can't save money, right? Verse 18, "Curse shall be the fruit of thy body," right? Your children, and the fruit of thy land, all right, really tying that back to the to your labor, right? Jake worked hard as hell just to make crumbs, pennies, you know? A lot of Jake in the corporate world. There's a lot of videos I've been seeing on the internet too. A lot of Jake that's in the corporate world. You know those what you call this, white collar, blue collar jobs. But anyway, they're in the corporate world and they're complaining about how that shit is, how that whole environment is toxic, and how these Edomites are constantly keeping Jake, at the bottom. They won't allow Jake to advance. The micromanagement, the passive aggressive racism that they experience on the job, the hell that they're going through, right? So even on that level, Jake catching hell, right? How much more your standard 9 to 5? But like I said, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, your labor, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Verse 19, cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, right? When you're born, right? Because, hey, even when you're born, you have to have a, what's it called, a birth certificate, man, which is basically a certificate of being a slave in this system. It says, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out, right? When you die, right? Hey, because hey, if I'm not mistaken, like if you got a relative that dies and that relative has like a bunch of debt, that's just like passed down to the children. They got to pay that shit off. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. Right? That's hell right there, man. Right? Jake stressed out. Right? It says, verse 20, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke. Hey, that's why. Hey, when you see Jake, you go in the hood and shit. You see Jake. Jake be ready to crash out. Right? Jake be stressed out, angry. You know, that's the state of our people. It says, "In all that thou settest thy hand to, in all thou that settest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Verse 21. It says, Deuteronomy 28:21. The Lord Yahweh Shem shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. Right? The pestilence, the plagues, right? Verse 22. The Lord Yahweh Shem shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Right? And Jake is caught up, all the different diseases, STDs, right? And when those talks come up about STDs and shit, who's in the forefront of all of that? Jake, you know, HIV, all that shit. When they had the COVID thing, they was talking about Negroes and Hispanics, Latinos. You got to get it first. When it comes to any type of bodily disease, Jake is in the forefront of that, man. Jake died all fucked up. Jake don't keep the dietary laws, right? Inflammation, heart disease, gout, okay, cancer, right? Verse 23, and thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. All right, going into pretty much hard times, man. And that's Jake's life. All right, hard times, barely making it, barely surviving. Verse 24, Deuteronomy 28:24, the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven it shall come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. Okay, dry land, barren, right? No crops, you know. It says here in my sword, unresponsive to cultivation. All right, so Jake wouldn't really have any fruits of their labor, Verse 25, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies, right? Slavery, persecution, genocide. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Yeah, we were scattered to the 4 corners of the earth via slavery. Verse 26, right? Hey, Thawada, my brother. Hey, Shalom Zaquan. All right, Elder Hawad in the building. Shalom, my brother. Yabashimi Washabakatah. Says your debts are tied to your estate, meaning any outstanding bills are paid using the money and property you leave behind. If your estate runs out of money, then the remaining debt generally goes unpaid. Okay, the water, right? It says Deuteronomy 28 and 27, 26, and thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall frail them away. Hey, they showed you that during slavery, man. All right, and my generation. Hey, all right, we back. Hold on, let me see something. All right, let's see. We back. All right, we good. I hear my voice now here. Yeah, they going hard. They going hard, man. That's crazy. All right, we back. Cool. So anyway, like I was saying before it cut me off, my generation, all right, because I'm 39, right? So we grew up in school. They showed you the black and white footage of what was really happening to Jake back then, right? So let me read the scripture, right? Read it again. Deuteronomy 28:26. And that it says, and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and all the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Now, back then they would show the actual, like, they would show the footage, the pictures. Jake would get lynched, and they'll just let the body hang there, man. Or they'll kill Jake. Nobody would bury him, and they just let let the animals and shit eat on the bodies and stuff. That happened, right? When you go back, I don't know if they took a lot of stuff down, but you can still find, going to the archives, and they'll show you videos and the footage of what really happened with Jake during the times of Jim Crow and shit like that. You know, back in the 40s, 30s and shit, 1920s and 30s, right? When you didn't have cell phones, where Esau was really, really fucking Jake up, right? But that's part of the curses. That would happen, right? Nobody would bury the body. The animals eat on the body. Let the body just rot, you know? It says, verse 27, the Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou cannot be healed, right? Going into those different plagues, pestilence. Verse 28, the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, right? And that's why you see a lot of our people, be bugged out on drugs, out of their minds, not all the way there, you know. Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Like I was talking about earlier, everything that Jake put his hands to, it wouldn't prosper, right? Jake was always trying to find a solution out of this hellhole, but it would come to naught, right? That's curses. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save you. Verse 30, Deuteronomy 28:30. Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her. They showed you that during slavery as well. All right. Esau would take Jake's wife and sleep with her and give it back. Give it right back to him. And that was common. Practice, right? I saw online. I never heard this before. I think I seen like 2 videos of it. Somebody was going into the definition of why crackers were called hunkies, and they said during them times, right, they would ride up to a Jake house and honk the horn, and the wife would have to come outside and sleep with the cracker, all right, so the cracker wouldn't go and kill the family. So she would come out and sleep with him, and then send her back to her husband, so the family wouldn't catch hell, right? So I was like, man, this shit is crazy. Esau got a lot to pay for, bro. Right? Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her, that thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Yeah, Jake did the agriculture, the labor, but didn't reap any fruits from it, man. Jake built these houses, these homes, these plantations, right? But wasn't living in them. They had Jake outside like the dog in the backyard. Verse 31, thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored unto thee. All right, this is what Esau was doing to Gad. All right, in the northern kingdom tribes when they came over to the Americas, right? Thy sheep shall be given to thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them, right? Verse 21, verse 32, Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people. They also showed you that 12 years a slave, right? Esau came in. He wanted to buy slaves, right? And what did they do? They separated the kids from the mother. The mother was crying. She was trying to fight to get the kids back, mushing her all in her face, take the kids. And that was the last time she saw her kids. Auction blocks, the highest bidder, right? You seen them clips, Mandingo, right? What's the other one? Goodbye Uncle Tom. That's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing, right? I tried to do a lesson with the video footage. They flagged and took the video down. But the whole movie is on YouTube, and that's a real documentary on how they was treating Jake during slavery, man. Right? Thy sons, verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them, right? Like they showed you in the movie. She had her kids taken away right in front of her face, and all she could do was just cry. Meanwhile, she was getting taken to another plantation. And it says, and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. And they showed you that scene perfectly in that movie, man. She was just ready to give up life at that point when that happened. Right? Verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation that thou knowest not eat up, and thou should be only oppressed and crushed always. Verse 34, so that thou should be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see. See? It says, and all that shit drove our people crazy. You know? And that's why, hey, not the rap, but hey, a lot of this shit you see going on today, this is all post-traumatic shit that happened in the past. That's why our people are fucking crazy and bugged out now, man. Still suffering to the shit that happened to our people in ancient times. Right? And this is what these crackers, these damn devils try to overlook. You know, you got equal opportunity, right? You wasn't there. Why are you worried about that? Why are you talking about that? You weren't in slavery. Shut the hell up, man. Right? Verse 35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed from the sole of thy foot unto the top of the head. Yeah, pain in your damn knees, back, your ankles. Hey, Jake always got them injuries, man. Knee injuries, ankles, Achilles, your back, right? There you go. Inherited trauma. There you go. That's it. Inherited trauma, right? That's what them damn devils refuse to understand, right? Hey, cause hey, niggas, really niggas, these wild niggas you see today, hey, that's a creation from Esau, man. Esau created niggas, man. Now he mad because niggas, now your creation is running fucking rampant. But it was all set up to be like that anyway. So Esau can be justified to come with the sword, right? Verse 36, the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shall serve other gods, wood and stone. All right, there's different idols, right, that we would serve under this captivity, right? And thou should become an astonishment, right? And hey, the water, brother, y'all going crazy on the comment board. The water for that. Hey, I'm learning some stuff. Right, this is from Stargate.144K. Epigenetics, severe stress or trauma can cause chemical tags such as methylation to attach to your DNA. These tags turn specific genes on and off without changing the underlying genetic code. So that's crazy. Hey, the hell we caught was so bad, the shit it's embedded in our DNA. That's crazy, right? It says these changes can affect stress hormone regulation, like cortisol, and sometimes be passed to offspring biologically, priming the next generation for heightened threat detection. There you go, man. And you don't think Esau gonna pay for that? Right? Yeah, Jake is a product of his environment. Exactly. Come on, man. But these are the curses, man. Curses are no joke. Right? Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee, right? That's why they call you niggers, hard art, right? Coons, wetbacks, spits, monkeys, tar babies, mud sharks, all that shit, man. Okay, these are those proverbs. Verse 38: Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Right. So this is spiritual because Jake works hard but brings little in. Right. Was it Haggai? Haggai 1:6. Right. You sow much but bring in little. Right. You work hard, double shifts, triple shifts, overtime, and you still barely making ends meet. You got a couple of gigs on the side, still struggling. All right. It says, verse 39, verse 39, thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt only anoint thyself with oil, for thy olive oil shall cast its fruit. It says, verse 41, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they should go into captivity. Right, as we talked about earlier in verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. All right. So our children went into slavery to never be seen by their parents again. Right. It says, and that's horrible, man. Right. But that's what happened. It says, all the trees, verse 42, all the trees of thy fruit, all thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. The stranger, going back to the heathen, man. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Right? So yeah, you got all these heathen nations. They can come over here from another country and get these big ass loans and set up businesses and buy homes and shit like that right in your neighborhood, man. Meanwhile, in them same shops, they're selling you poison, they're selling you drugs, alcohol. They making a killing off Jake. Right? I saw a video of this Arab dude. I think he was probably in New York or something. And he was talking shit. He was talking about how pretty much how niggas pay his mortgage and his son's tuition for college. You know, so they make a killing off Jake, man. They would be over you, right? Thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, thou shalt not lend to him, right? Hey, Jake ain't got no banks. You know, Jake ain't lending out no money, no credit. You got to go to the heathen to do that, to get loans, all right, credit and all that, right? He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail, all right? You would be at the bottom of everybody, everything, man, right? Verse 45, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the Lord, I'm sorry, but because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they should be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So again, you cannot overlook the curses, man. The Lord said that the curses would be for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever. So that shows you who the Israelites are, man. Right? Enough playing the games. All right? All these people know what's up, man. They know who we are, man. Don't get it twisted. Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness. All right, you got to go to Esau for all of that. You want to eat, you got to go to his corporations to buy food, all right, water, clothes, in the one of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So again, show us the images of the small hats with yokes of iron on their neck, man. You fucking Edomites with yokes of iron on your necks, packed like sardines and cargo slave ships. Show us the pictures, all right? Show us the documentaries, man. With your family on the auction blocks, getting ready to be sold away and never be seen again. Give us the footage. Show us the evidence, man. Okay? You being in poverty. Okay? How the hell these small hats in poverty? How are they the victims, man? And these niggas literally run the world. They own every goddamn corporation. But somehow they're at the bottom. Make it make sense, man. Right? Show us the images of the yokes of iron. All right, and it better not be AI. Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. Ooh, as swift as the eagle flieth. Who symbol is the eagle? Esau Edom. All right. As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue shall not thou should not understand. All right. Going back to the Romans. All right. They spoke Latin. Then fast forward, the so-called European. Okay, the Edomite that spoke English. Okay, a nation of a fierce countenance, which should not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young, and he shall eat the fruit. Yeah, and that's another point. You got images on that. You had little toddlers out there picking cotton in the hot heat, right? Old men out there working in the heat, dying. They showed you that 12 Years a Slave. I got to keep going back to that movie because a lot of scenes in that movie was spiritual, man. You know, I remember seeing that movie when I first came in, around a couple years coming in. You know, we were all at the movies. The elders, apostles, we all went to go see that movie, man. And I remember every scene that came by, I remember Elder Apostle Rakah was calling scriptures out when certain parts of the movie would play dealing with Deuteronomy 28. He was like, oh yeah, that's Deuteronomy, 28 verse. He was saying it. I was like, damn, I remember that. You know, if he see this video, he'll know what I'm talking about. You know, but it was heavy though, right? Deuteronomy 28, and yeah, they didn't care. They showed you in the movie. It was like, I think it was like in the beginning. You know, Jake was working in the field in the hot heat. You had a Jake that died on the spot while he was working, and they just cleaned the body up and then told the people to keep working. You know, but shit was crazy, man. Whoever made that movie got to know the truth, bro. Anyway, Deuteronomy 28:51, and he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall leave thee neither corn, wine, or oil, or in the crease of thy kind, or the flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, and until the high fence walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy power have given thee. Right? You had during the time of the Maccabees, Antiochus or Antiochus, the fourth or the fifth Salakia, right? You had the siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD. Dealing with the Romans. How our people were besieged throughout the gates. They were locked out, so to speak, starved to death. That happened. Okay. Verse 53, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and daughters, which the Lord thy power have given thee in the siege, and in the straightness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee. Right? So that's going to happen again too. All right, you're going to have another siege of Jerusalem happen all over again. Right? Soon to come. Jake was eating his own kind, eating his own body. Verse 54, so that a man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes should be evil towards his brother, right? His eyes should be evil towards his brother. I did a lesson going into that. It's a lose-lose situation, man. Black on black crime, all that shit. That's the curses, man. When too many niggas get together in one environment, somebody gonna die. Somebody gonna get stomped out, beat up. Something gonna get stolen. Property gonna get damaged, right? A man's eye should be evil towards his own brother, and we see that now. Even by us giving you the truth, right? You got niggas that get offended, man, right? That want to fight us for simply telling them the truth, right? Just because you see somebody that look like you can't respect it, right? But if Esau was telling you these exact things I'm telling you now, then you would respect it, right? Then you would consider it. That's Jake. A man's eye should be evil towards his own brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, right? Going into what? Single parent homes, right? Catching hell by the mom, Jake, the dad will bounce, or he'll get locked up forever, or get put to death. That's the curses, man. It says, verse 55, so that he would not give any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege, and the straightness wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. Right? We'll finish the chapter out. Yeah, we got a little bit more. We'll wrap it up. It says, verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure set the sole of her foot upon the ground. It says, Slakia, 1 second. Give me 1 second, Slakia. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy 28 and 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for the delicateness and tenderness, her eyes should be evil toward the husband of her bosom, right? That's why you see all this this feminist bullshit. All right. How the man ain't shit. She don't need a man. How she in her mind, she feels as she's over the man. Right? Her eye would be evil towards her own husband, right? And toward her son and toward her daughter. And we see that now. A lot of these women really don't want to be moms, right? The kids they have is just a government check, child support check, right? Or they'll fucking postpartum shit, killing the kids. You see how the woman is, the woman is today when it comes to her children. Said her eye will be evil towards her husband in her children, right? That's the curses, man, right? Verse 57, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for the one of all things, secretly in the siege, and straightness wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. And that happened, as we just talked about, eating each other, eating the kids, all right, to survive the siege that came upon, that came with the Romans, Verse 58, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord, thy power, Yahweh Shemir Washai. Verse 59, the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and thy plagues, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and a long continuance of sore sickness, and of long continuance, right? And that's why we just read Daniel, the 9th chapter, verses 12 on down, going into those great evils again, right? Which brothers has posted that too, right? Verse Verse 60, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Right? Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of the law, then will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And we see that now. We talked about the STDs, the different plagues, turbo cancers that's happening right now, right? Things that were not written in the book that Jake is suffering now. Verse 60, verse 62, and ye should be left few in number, whereas ye were the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy power. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoice over you to do good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to nothing or to naught. And you should be plucked off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. Right? And part of that too, Deuteronomy 4:27, right? Part of the curse is that we would be uprooted out of the land of Israel. Right? That's part of that too. Verse 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right. So a part of the scattering, right? Us becoming Gentiles, losing our heritage. Verse 65, and among these nations shall thou find no ease. All right. So the similar hell that Jake is catching in America, hey, he's catching that shit in Europe. Right? He's catching it over in Africa, China, right? Wherever Jake is at, Jake is catching hell, right? Among these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. You wouldn't have no rest. But the Lord shall give thee a trembling of heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, right? Verse 66, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt have fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. Yeah, anything can happen to Jake, man. Like we talk about, hey, you driving a car, police get behind you, that could be your last day, right? You could get pulled over, the cop could escalate some shit, make up an excuse to shoot you. You see what I'm saying? Anything can happen to Jake, man. Right? It says, verse 67, in the morning thou shalt say, what God if it were even, and at even thou shalt say, what God if it were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. Right? So Jake, hey, as a people, we would be going through it, man. No assurance of your life. Don't know how you're gonna make it. See what I'm saying? Jake living check to check, day to day, unsure what's gonna happen next. That's the plight of the tribes. Verse 68, and the Lord, Yahweh Shemir Shai, shall bring thee into Egypt again. Okay? So we're in a new Egypt. We're in spiritual Egypt, right? So the Lord said we would be brought into Egypt again with ships, slave ships, cargo slave ships, the transatlantic slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade, the Dutch slave trade, the Native American slave trade, the Portuguese slave trade. Okay, all these different slave trades you can look up. This is what happened to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanic. All right, we would be scattered through ships. By the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. You won't see your homeland no more again. And there you should be sold unto your enemies. You will be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, slave man, and bondwoman, slave woman, and no man shall buy you. Okay? No man will redeem you from what the Lord put you through, man. Put us through. Okay? That's the curses. See that? Let me get one more before we wrap it up. So there's no way in hell you can say that don't apply to us. Right? And if it applies to anybody else, show us the proof, which you don't have, right? Baruch 4:6, and it reads, and I read this already, but I'm reading down to 10. All right. Baruch 4:6, you were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath, you were delivered unto the enemies, right? Deuteronomy 28:68, we just read. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to the Most High. Verse 8, you have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. Verse 9, for when she saw the wrath of God coming upon you, she said, hearken, O you that dwell about Zion, the Most High have brought upon me great mourning. Verse 10, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. There you go. Saw the working of the Lord, man. All right. Again, the curses cannot be overlooked. They can't be ignored. All right. Hey, it is what it is. All right. So yeah, I pray that this this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. All right. Probably wasn't ranting too much, but nevertheless, by the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, and we'll close honor and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ruach HaKodesh, a double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught this true. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.